What's going on, everyone? Welcome back. Today, we've got another live fantasy football mock draft for you back on ESPN with a 12-team full PPR mock where we'll be selecting 10th overall. Should be pretty interesting. While we wait for this thing to load, a quick reminder, if you enjoy, hit that like button, subscribe, give us a follow on All Day Pigskin at Twitter to continue interacting with us there. If you guys enjoy, let us hear it in the comments section, along with any other questions you guys might have. We'll do our best to answer them all. But with that being said, let's take a look at these first several picks there in the books. Christian McCaffrey, CeeDee Lamb, the number 1, 2 rated guys respectively. Then Bijan Robinson. I always love to see it. I love to see these running backs getting some love. Goes 3rd overall. I personally have Bijan a little bit behind Breece Hall, but it is, again, I say it every single time, it is splitting hairs. So if you want to go Bijan ahead of Breece, if you want to go Breece ahead of Bijan, I think that either is 1,000% fine. Then Tyreek Hill with the 4th, followed by Amon-Ra St. Brown. Amon-Ra goes ahead of Ja'Marr Chase. Then Breece Hall at the 106. So I know he won't fall to me, but Ja'Marr Chase at this point in time, I think is a really, really good value. Justin Jefferson, I'm personally staying away from. I've said this before. I'm staying away from him because, no more Kirk Cousins, and that is a completely different situation in my opinion. So Justin Jefferson was selected. Good, that's fine. I don't have to, even mull that decision over. Now here, one more selection before we can make a pick. I'm hoping it's not Garrett Wilson. That's the guy that I have kind of queued up. I have him ranked a little bit higher than A.J. Brown. I personally think that Garrett Wilson, if it wasn't for the Rodgers injury last year, Garrett Wilson right now would be getting drafted like as a top 5, top 6 guy. Like, the only reason that he's still there is because that breakout that we were all expecting in 2023 is probably going to be a year delayed, but it's everyone still realizes, people are saying, oh, you look at the stats, Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, et cetera, like Garrett Wilson hasn't done anything amazing. Yeah, but you see the talent, the quarterback. There's a reason why all these analysts, including us, we are saying that he is a really good value, that he is worth the price of admission, if you will. And now, I think a late first-round selection is definitely worth it. But here, another no-brainer of a pick for me. I'm going Jahmyr Gibbs. This is my favorite way to start a draft. So what do I mean by that? It's going with a top-tier running back and a top-tier wide receiver in the first 2 rounds. So not going running back, or wide receiver, going one running back, one wide receiver. Whether you take the wide receiver first or the running back first doesn't really matter, but I find that it's easier to do it if you go wide receiver first, then running back. Because, if you go running back first, I think the only running back in the first round that should be selected is probably, other than Christian McCaffrey and Breece Hall and Bijan Robinson. If you're selecting Breece Hall and Bijan Robinson in a 12-team league, odds are a top-tier wide receiver won't fall to you in the second round. So that's why, on top of this, my favorite spot to draft from, whether it's a 10-team league or a 12-team league, this year in particular, is the end of the first round. So probably the last 3 picks really gives you that ability to go with a potential top 5 talent at running back and at wide receiver, because, man, I'm telling you, that drop-off is quick this year, both their running back and wide receiver. After Puka Nacua, let's take a look at it. But after Puka Nacua, you're looking at guys like Devontae Adams, Chris Olave, Marvin Harrison. I think that's questionable. After guys like Jahmyr Gibbs, Saquon, and Jonathan Taylor, Kyron Williams, which I think it's still fine, but then it's Pacheco, Travis Etienne, James Cook, Alvin Kamara. So, again, I think there's decent drop-offs. Let's take a look at these picks that have taken place so far. After we went Garrett Wilson, it was Jonathan Taylor, it was A.J. Brown. Kyron Williams was selected ahead of Jahmyr Gibbs. That's interesting. I still think that Kyron Williams is more than likely going to repeat the success he had from last year. I'm not too threatened by Blake Corum, but, I think it's pretty interesting selecting him ahead of Jahmyr Gibbs. Even though Gibbs is also on a committee, you could argue, obviously, with David Montgomery. And Montgomery is a bigger threat, but the pass-catching upside for Gibbs, chef's kiss. Puka Nacua was selected at the 14th pick. Very, very happy that we got to select Jahmyr Gibbs. Then Marvin Harrison, 16th overall. Derrick Henry, I don't get it. Derrick Henry should not be getting drafted ahead of ETN. You could argue Pacheco. Devontae Adams, 18th overall. The reason I said that about Derrick Henry, by the way, is full PPR, and he has to contend with Lamar Jackson. Then Devontae Adams, Isaiah Pacheco, Travis Etienne, Chris Olave, James Cook, Alvin Kamara. See how Alvin Kamara gets bumped up in these larger leagues when it's full PPR, end of the second round selection. Sometimes, if it's a 10-team league, you might see him drop to like the end of the third, the fourth round, something like that. But not here. Mike Evans, then in the third round, Sam Laporta, Joe Mixon, Cooper Kupp. Ooh, okay. I like to see some love for my boy Cooper Kupp. Man, I was really, really hoping we could get Drake London. But yeah, it was probably wishful thinking when you look at the fact that this is a 12-team league, even though he is undervalued. Travis Kelce, A-Chain, DK Metcalf. We are on the clock now. Josh Allen and Michael Pittman were just selected. I think Nico Collins is a good value here. I think that, let's see, running back-wise, Rachaad White. Let me see the running backs that are left. Ooh, I think it's going to be easier to select a wide receiver that's closer to Nico Collins than a running back that's closer to Rachaad White. I'm going Rachaad White here, boys and girls. Again, another PPR guy. Because, if Josh Jacobs was selected or Kenneth Walker, tough sledding. Obviously, again, Nico Collins is drafted here, but I'll be okay with my second wide receiver being a Jaylen Waddle, maybe. I think we're going to have a chance to do that. Brendan Ayuk, I think too many mouths to feed in San Francisco, relying on that uber efficiency. And yeah, see, there you go. Josh Jacobs was just drafted. Anthony Richardson, all right, that's fine. It's Anthony. Are you kidding me? Anthony Richardson ahead of Jalen Hurts and Patrick Mahomes. These people are smoking crack. There's no way Anthony Richardson should be getting selected ahead of both those guys. I'm sorry. Wide receiver, I'm going to go Jaylen Waddle here. I like DJ Moore. I really do. But you added Keenan Allen. You added Rome Odunze. DJ Moore is not going to be the target hog that he was last year. I think he's in a great real-life NFL situation. Fantasy football-wise, it's a bigger question mark. So that's why I decided to go with Jaylen Waddle. Obviously, he's the clear number 2 there, right? But behind Tyreek Hill. But other than Tyreek, it's going to be Jaylen Waddle. I think he's going to be the guy afterwards, the clear-cut next target. And I wouldn't, we've seen it in years prior. Jaylen Waddle in some weeks has better outings than Tyreek Hill. So I like Jaylen Waddle. He's a little bit banged up last year, so not too worried. If Jaylen Waddle wasn't there, probably would have gone DJ Moore for the upside. So we saw Jalen Hurts being drafted. I mean, yeah, let's see. There goes Patrick Mahomes, end of the 4th round. Josh Allen was the first quarterback selected, 8th pick in the 3rd round, compared to Patrick Mahomes, 10th pick in the 4th round. So yeah, 14 picks later, if I'm doing my math right. I mean, that's that's a full round later. So what would you rather do? I'm taking Patrick Mahomes in that situation every single day. CJ Stroud just got drafted. That's fine. I'm gonna wait on quarterback. I think there's some really good values at tight end here. Quarterback, Lamar is the next guy up because of his rushing ability, but you take away the rushing success, and then you're kind of left with having to rely on airing out the football, which makes me a little bit nervous. Oh man, killer! Trey McBride was just drafted. He would have been my easy selection at tight end here in the 5th round. Tremendous value for him. Calvin Ridley now. What I'm hoping at this point happens is that we can at least get Dalton Kincaid. I think he's another high upside tight end. You could argue he could be the number one pass catching option for Josh Allen. Like, that's a real scenario there because he's contending with a rookie in Keon Coleman. He's contending with Curtis Samuel, who I've called him a dark horse, Curtis Samuel, but again, he's never been like the alpha dude. Ooh, George Pickens just got drafted. Running back wise, Jahmyr White is tempting, for a potential high upside guy, but I want to go tight end. Do these guys here after me have tight ends? This guy doesn't. This guy doesn't. They both need tight ends. I'm going Dalton Kincaid. I'm going with the upside. I'm taking a little bit of a risk. And, ooh, damn it. All the hell. There goes Jahmyr White. Yeah. I mean, that's the way it goes. So, we could have gotten Jahmyr White first and then taken a chance to see if Dalton Kincaid falls to us or not. There goes Lamar Jackson. So, yeah, I'm curious how this thing plays out. Maybe not a single tight end will be drafted. Or maybe it would have been, but it would have been, there goes Evan Ingram. So, I didn't completely misplay that. Maybe Evan Ingram would have gotten back to us, but again, that's a maybe. So right now we've got Jahmyr Gibbs, Rachaad White, Garrett Wilson, Jaylen Waddle, Dalton Kincaid. I think we're putting together a very balanced team. Here, wide receiver, really good values. T. Higgins, Keenan Allen, Christian Kirk. A running back. Who was there for running back for us? David Montgomery. I don't want the number 2 option. I'm going to go with Christian Kirk here. Yeah, I'm going to go with the number 1 wide receiver option on the respective offenses. T. Higgins is the clear number 2 behind Ja'Marr Chase. Keenan Allen, age. The targets aren't going to be what we got accustomed to with Justin Herbert and the Chargers. You got a rookie quarterback that has also a Dunze, Cole Kmet, DJ Moore. So I do think the best days of Keenan Allen are behind him, but he's still going to siphon away targets from DJ Moore. Roman Dunze will do the same. That's why I went with Christian Kirk. That's why earlier I didn't draft DJ Moore. So after our Kirk selection, you see DeAndre Swift, Tank Dell, Montgomery, T. Higgins, Terry McLaurin, and Dak Prescott. So keep in mind that we're drafting towards the end of the first round here. We got a little bit of it. I like to call it, either of the extremes really early on or really late on. But I think that we started out this draft A+ with Gibbs and Garrett Wilson. Then we got Rachaad White, Jaylen Waddle. I don't mind that either. Dalton Kincaid afterwards, followed by Christian Kirk. I probably would have felt a little bit better if instead of Christian Kirk, it was Jahmyr White, just because I'd like to get more running back depth. It's easier to get, wide receiver depth than running back depth, especially running backs that can contribute. But I kind of want to go through. Let's go recapping starting the third round. We saw Laporta, Mixon, Kupp, Drake London, Kelsey, A-Chain, DK, Josh Allen. Pittman dropped. Good value on Rachaad White, then Nico Collins, Stephon Diggs, Josh Jacobs, Anthony Richardson. We went Jaylen Waddle, DJ Moore, Devonta Smith, Ramondre, Jalen Hurts, Brendan Ayuk. Ooh, Zach Moss. Come on, man. Zach Moss just got drafted. I was really hoping I could get him. Whew, all right. Ramondre Stevenson, Jalen Hurts, Brendan Ayuk, Kenneth Walker, Mahomes. Good value there at the end of the fourth. Neighbors, Zay Flowers. Fifth, Aaron Jones, CJ Stroud, Mark Andrews, McBride, Debo, Calvin Ridley, James Conner, Jonathan Brooks, George Pickens. We went Kincaid, Jahmyr White, Lamar Jackson. Sixth round, we went Christian Kirk, but we got to make another selection here. Running back, shoot. I don't like any of these running backs. Quarterback, I don't like any of these quarterbacks. Back to wide receiver we go. Let's go with a high upside guy in Marquise Brown, home run hitter. We'll go Marquise Brown, and then maybe another running back. But which one? Which one of these scrubs at this point in time makes the most sense? I mean, I hate Najee with Jaylen Warren. I hate Spears with Tony Pollard. Eckler is not Eckler anymore. Zeke is 1,000,000 years old. Singletary is on a questionable offensive line with Daniel Jones. Raheem Mostert, maybe Raheem Mostert, you know. He won't duplicate what we saw last year, but yeah. We need more running backs. We do. Yeah. I guess I'm going to go Raheem Mostert. Oh, that doesn't feel good. But yeah, we're going to go Raheem Mostert here. Other guys, Gus Edwards. I feel like him and J.K. Dobbins, now funny enough, are both on the same team again, are always just a sneeze away from a season-ending injury. So who knows? What you're hoping for is he gets like Gus Edwards, that is like close to 300 carries, and he gets a lot of touchdowns, and that way he returns on value. But you never know. He's never been like an elite running back, so it's going to be more of situation-based than talent-based, in my opinion, with him. Just kind of going back to the pick history here, where did we leave off? We left off in the 5th round when we went Dalton Kincaid, then Jahmyr White, Lamar, Evan Ingram, Chris Godwin. We went Christian Kirk, then Swift, Tank Dell, Monty, T. Higgins, Terry, Dak, Javonte Williams. I think that's way too early for Javonte. Amari Cooper, Keenan Allen, Joe Burrow, Nick Chubb. Oof, I don't like that pick. You know who I think is actually a really good pick? Jerome Ford. I have to see if he's still available, but to me, Jerome Ford should be drafted ahead of Nick Chubb until like concrete news comes about Chubb and his rehab. Jaden Reed, Brian Robinson, Zach Moss. I would have loved to get him. Jalen Warren, Rashee Rice, Kittle, Pitts. We went Marquise Brown to get some wide receiver depth. Then Christian Watson, Hopkins, Zeke, Jake Ferguson. We went Raheem Mostert for running back depth. Najee, Tyjae Spears, Njoku, Jordan Addison, Purdy, Tony Pollard, Cortland Sutton, Brock Bowers, Kyler Murray, Austin Eckler, and now Keon Coleman. So here I'm going to go with Jerome Ford if he's still there, or Gus Edwards if he's not, if we have to pivot. Both those guys, starting running backs. So I think that it is, all things considered, a good pick. Jaden Daniels just got selected. Ooh, should I gamble and go Gus Edwards first and then Jerome Ford? No, I'm just going to get Jerome Ford. I'm going to get Jerome Ford. I think he can be a better pick than people realize, like a long-term fantasy football option for 2024. And here I should probably get a quarterback to kind of conclude our roster. Let's see if Gus Edwards gets selected or not. If he doesn't get selected, I might have to draft him. And then just, queue up someone at quarterback. Ooh, is Aaron Rodgers already got drafted? Wow, he got drafted a couple picks before us in the 9th round. Oof, damn. All right, that's a bummer. Would have loved to get Aaron Rodgers. I'm a big Aaron Rodgers believer this year. But no. Guess that's not meant to be. So other quarterback options that I like for what it's worth, Kirk Cousins, again, but I need to hear some more news on the injury front. Justin Herbert, I still believe in the talent, basically. Matthew Stafford, Jared Goff, both good options. In fact, I've got Jared Goff with Jahmyr Gibbs, but let's go Gus Edwards here, and then I'm going to queue up one of those quarterbacks. And then queue up Jared Goff. I'm going to queue up Matthew Stafford. And I think we'll be able to land one of those guys in the later rounds. But overall, our squad right now, Gibbs, Rachaad White, Garrett Wilson, Waddle, Kincaid, Christian Kirk. I really like our branch in Marquise, Raheem, Jerome Ford, Gus Edwards. Let me know your thoughts, but, I got to be honest with you. I think this is a solid roster. Like high B+, A- territory. If you enjoyed, hit that like button, subscribe, give us a follow on Twitter at AllDayPigskin to continue interacting with us there. Again, let us hear your thoughts, any questions you guys might have in the comments. We'll do our best to answer them all, but in the meantime, we'll see you guys in future videos.